For today's video, let's look at some gold. Hey everybody, it's Rob with RobFindsTreasure, and I felt like doing an episode just on some of the gold I've accumulated over the years. These will not be any gold coins or gold bullion. This is gold that I have either sluiced myself, panned myself, or gold that I have acquired through transactions over the last several years. First, I want to start off by showing you one of my gold bars. Now, this gold bar consists of many of the little tiny flour gold and gold flakes and small gold nuggets that I pulled out of Sonora, California, back when I used to take my son gold panning and high banking and sluicing, things like that. Never have I found with a metal detector any big gold nuggets, but this was just a bunch of gold that I had gotten through those methods. A lot of it was basically just flour gold and some small flakes. But there were some decent gram nuggets that were in here, but I wanted to keep it so that it was a lot more easier to store instead of having a ton of nuggets. So right here, we've got all of my tiniest nuggets that I have panned, sluiced, dredged, high banked, you name it, prospected for in my years in California. So I felt like let's go ahead and weigh it up and show it to you. So this is on ounces, not troy ounces, but for ounces, I weighed out 3 total ounces of gold and poured myself a 3.01 gold bar. We'll zoom in a little bit more so you guys get a better look at it. But not my best pour, but it was one of my first times ever working with gold and didn't come out terrible. Plus, I like that it's 3.01 ounces of gold. Not too shabby. A lot of fun. It's one of my personal favorite bars, of course, because it's gold. For my second little gold bar, I'll kind of tell you the story behind this. I had a subscriber who also pants for gold, and he said, Rob, I want to sell you some gold nuggets. You can do with them as you want. So, of course, I purchased them from him, and I decided that I would go ahead and get it melted and then pour it into a little tiny bar. So this was a separate transaction. That's why it's separated from that one, because I wanted to know the purity after I melted it versus this one. Long story short, melted it into this little tiny bar, had it tested, and it came out to 22.5 carats, and it's about 0.58 total ounces. Now, this one tested almost to 23 carats from my gold that I got from Sonora. And when I put them together, the total gold weigh here is about 3.59 or 3.6 ounces of gold at about 22.5 to 23 carat. Pretty pure. Anyway, the other reason for this video is I wanted to show you off some of my other gold nuggets. These are gold nuggets that I've either acquired through transactions or I didn't have the heart to melt. This one's a little bit yellow. It's not my favorite one. I'll probably end up melting this one. It's not that nice, but that's mainly because it still has some of the clay there or some of the soil still embedded in it. Plus, it's got a little bit of quartz with it. But the rest of these are really nice specimens, and I don't want to show them all off. There's quite a bit here, but I'm going to pull up a couple of them like this, and we'll do some weighing. But you can see the characteristics of this gold. Very beautiful. And let's see. I know I've got a kind of a chunky one. Here's a chunky one. Yeah. This is a very nice picker, if you will. Very chunky piece of gold. Happy to have it in my collection. Now, for those that don't know, gold is actually worth a little bit more in its nugget form. Typically, they get between 10 and 50% more of the value of gold. Obviously, the bigger the nugget, the more value it fetches. We've got some good placer gold, gold that has been tumbled around for quite a while. And then we've got some beautiful crevice gold in here where the gold was molded into a crevice, kind of bent up, if you will, but it hasn't been tumbling around in the river very much, which is why it's more sharp and jagged edges versus rounded edges. A lot of beautiful specimens in here. I just want to take a little bit of time to show you them. We will zoom out in a second and we will go ahead and do some of the weighing and see which one's the biggest nuggets. I know I have some pretty decent sized ones in here, ones that are between 1 and 2 grams, and some that are under a gram, of course. Let me zoom out, get the scale set up, and we'll take a look-see. All right, so we've got the scale set up. I've got the gold nuggets kind of just sitting over here, or gold pickers, I guess is more like it, but they are nugget form. So we're going to go ahead and start weighing them up and see which is the biggest one that we have. As a matter of fact, I'm going to put it onto grams because that'll be a lot more precise. This one's at 1.5 grams, and I could put it at grains, but we'll leave it at grams for now. So here's a 1.5 gram, and let me zoom in just a little bit. 1.5 grams on that one, so he's our biggest so far. Let's see what size this one is. 1.3, so not as big. 1.6, so he's our new champion. 1.3, so it's probably 135. It was bouncing around. Here's a pretty chunky one. 1.5 grams. And let me see if I can eyeball a couple of other big ones. That's 0.8, misleading because it's kind of curved. 1.5 on that one. 1.8, so that's our new champion of the world. And I think the rest of these are probably not going to be the largest. Some of these are pretty beefy for how small they are. That's 1.2 grams. Yeah, I'm pretty certain that none of these will beat that 1.8, 0.9, and so on. So now that we've established that this one is the largest of them all, not too shabby, let me go ahead and put them all on the scale. And we'll get a weight of just the nuggets next. So on the scale, we have 35.7 grams. And if I change it to ounces, because we can see we're over an ounce here, it's 1.26 ounces. And then if I add in my other gold bars that I have melted, 183, almost 5 ounces of gold. Matter of fact, we're about 0.16 ounces behind being 5 ounces. So my plan is, guys, once we get to 5 ounces of gold, I will be doing a gold melting video where I make a 5-ounce gold bar. We're getting close. I hate melting the nuggets. Like I said, they are worth more if you leave them in their raw form. But man, it's hard to not want to get a big fat bar made. And once it's in bar form, you can test its purity a lot easier than testing every one of these nuggets and sorting them by their purity. That being said, I will melt these into one bar first, test its purity, because what I don't want to happen is that these test out to 18 carats and then I mix them with my 22 to 23 carats and get a less pure full bar. That being said, you gotta love how gold looks. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Sorry that it's not getting great detail. There's so much light on this and gold is reflecting it. It's confusing the camera about what to focus on. Anyway, let me go ahead and zoom out, put that in the vial, and give you one last look with some final thoughts. I think that's going to pretty much wrap it up for today's video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed taking a little peek at the gold we got here. I know I enjoy looking at it quite often. I don't own very much of it personally, but at least I have some for my stack. Please let me know if you'd be interested in seeing me melt down all this gold eventually into a 5-ounce bar. If you would, please leave it in the comments down below. Or if you think, Rob, that's blasphemy, do not melt down those nuggets. Keep those nuggets intact. Let me know that in the comments down below as well. Either way, I'm open to your guys' suggestions. I appreciate you watching. As always, everyone, happy hunting, and thanks for watching.